Hi everyone, it's John and a little man who's not particularly wanting to show his face on camera at the moment. Don't ask me why. It's Saturday morning. I've survived another week. Yes, it's... Oh, hello. He's... Oh, no. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yes, it's raining. It's raining here. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I get woken up at 3 o'clock every morning. I've got a possum that decides to come in and squeeze its way into the roof of my house. So consequently, I'm now... That's my alarm clock. I have an internal alarm clock that constantly wakes me to these sorts of things. So yeah, anyway, so what am I doing? I'm currently working on just fiddling around with my original adventures for Dungeons and Dragons. So I'll show some pictures of what I've been working on map-wise, redoing some of my early adventures, putting them into, I guess, a format that's not handwritten notes, and that's essentially all I'm doing. I haven't had a board game now in, I think this is the 5th week, which is all very sad. As I said, my role-playing's died, and that's where things are. I'll probably say a little bit more a little bit later on. Right, so I've been going back and looking at my old dungeons and reworking everything just to, well, fill in time. And would you believe 22nd of the 12th, 18 was when this was completed. So that's when we finished it. So I must have started running this, because these are my notes. I can't even remember. So I must have started running in December. So 2 years ago. And like, yeah. So that's interesting. So these are the dungeons that I've kept. So yeah. So I'm going to just redo them and pop them up. But yeah, I was using the D&D dungeon tiles. So I'm just going back and redoing my notes and I guess fixing up, rethinking how I did them the first time round. So which is what I've redoing the maps, I guess. But yeah, doing bits and pieces. So the first encounter where they were at the Druid's Grove, rather than have them wandering off, I've now had the ruin within the area where the Druid's Grove was. So I've made a few changes there. Salt Marsh, which was going to be the ultimate destination, I've redone that and added elements from the D&D 3.5 from the DMG2. So I've included elements from that because I quite like things from there. So like with everything I do, I just mix and match. Nothing's the same. So yeah. But yeah, so anyway, that's where things sit with there. And oh, hello, you've decided to join me now. Still wet outside, is it? Yes, Dad, very wet. Looking at how I'm doing the artwork for my salt marsh. Now, I've done 2 versions. Now there is sitting under here, and you'll find I've got the map from Ghosts, and I've got this from the DMG from 3.5. So I'm working with a couple of editions. However, I'm changing the salt marsh to meet my vision at this stage, and so I've, as you can probably see, hey look, I've used a sketchograph just to get my, I guess, my outline of salt marsh fairly well. So I'm just showing you some of the little tricks, I guess, that I've done. And what I've done is that there was a, if you can get it, it's a Linex, let's get this over here where you can find it. It's a Linex 1274 from Denmark. I believe it's a military, marking stencil. At least that's what I was told. Anyway, we were using it back in the 80s for play-by-mail games, where we would use the, for instance, the those for hills, obviously the triangles for mountains, and all sorts of things. So yeah, it was a useful little template. Of course, I'm using it now to do these, because what I've done is that with the stencil, using the squares and the rectangles, now you can see it here, is that I've drawn rectangles and squares, and then using then the outline, I can then trace around very nicely what I want to be, I guess, a shape or a cluster of buildings. Now, these larger buildings that I've obviously marked in are going to be significant buildings within my version of Saltmarsh. Now, these are buildings that exist within 5th ed and 3.5, because, pardon me, there are quite a few buildings in 3.5 that I really like. But as you can see, what I've done is that with this is that I will just take my, let's see if it'll focus, I can't quite. So at the moment it's Brisbane, it's a little bit muggy, and what I tend to do is to save the work that I'm dealing with, is that I tend to and hopefully this will, as you can see, this is how my buildings will tend to work out. So it gives a indication of a jumble of buildings, because once again we're talking about buildings that have been placed together in a rather haphazard way. I guess town planning doesn't exist, and so as you can see here we have a finished outline, and that's, you know, and what I'll do is come along later and erase. Okay, you can probably see where I've attempted to erase. I'll come back and finish that off a little bit better. I've coloured in some of the sections back here, but yeah, I'm slowly getting on, and hopefully you'll see a more precise or completed version of my map a little bit later. Well, this is the second tape now, and I was having too much trouble with the first. Yeah, I've got my camera on a stick. Look, well, there you go. That was my D&D works. So you see what I've been doing. Look, different shirt. Yes, it's Monday morning. We've got a rather wet season downpour coming through, and yes, I'm not quite ankle deep in water down here at the moment, but yeah, it doesn't happen all the time. But yeah, so I'm not a very happy chappy, even though I'm smiling. Yes. So, but I'm well, unfortunately used to this. I've got everything raised on bricks under here, so hopefully I've just got to wait for everything to basically dry out. So, but they reckon rain on and off until Christmas, but I'm afraid I have very little faith in the weather forecasters. I just wait and see what happens. So look, anyway, that's my D&D. I've actually finished typing up the first adventure, and I've made quite a few changes actually, having played that particular adventure twice now. Actually, no, I lied. 3 times I've run that now with groups. So and yes, I've made a number of changes, and yes, I just now have to see what it'll be like if I ever get to run it with a third. So look, thank you very much for watching once again one of my little madcap nonsensical videos, and until next time, signing off, the Honourable John.